So this is a quick, fun little project you could do with your kids. What you want is an offcut of 3/4 inch or 1 inch dowel and an offcut of 10mm or about 1/2 inch dowel. And what you want to do is you want to fix it vertically in a vise or with a clamp. And you need just a pilot with a small drill bit. And you want to drill in the centre, as close to the centre as you can. Doesn't have to be spot on. And you want to drill about 2 inches in. And you want to widen that hole with a drill bit which is the same diameter or slightly smaller than your smaller dowel. And you can see it's not bang centre, but that'll be fine. Then you want to mount it horizontally in the vise with the hole facing that way. And then you want to get your saw and you want to come in about 1.5 centimeters from the end. Doesn't have to be exact. And then you want to cut roughly halfway through the diameter. And then what you want to do is you want to come about 1 centimeter, just under 1/2 inch further away from that line, in from that first line you've cut. And you want to tilt your blade about 45 degrees back down to that first cut. Then you should have something that looks like that. And then what you can do is just run a file through here and just clean it up a little bit. Next you want your smaller dowel that's going to fit inside this hole. Mine's a little bit tight at the minute, so I'm just going to put it in the drill and rub it down with some sandpaper. Once your dowel fits in the hole, what you want to do is put a flat edge on one side using a file or a bit of sandpaper. You don't want to take loads off, just about 1 millimeter or 2. Then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut some of this excess material off. Then what you want to do is you want to put the smaller dowel inside the bigger dowel with the flat bit facing up and level with that first cut you made. And then you've got a whistle. And you have to sort of play around with how deep you push the dowel in and out and whatnot to get different tones. So I actually made a few of these. I made one with a larger dowel, and what I've done is I've carved a mouthpiece and rounded the end over. That one sounds like this. And then I did that with the slightly smaller one, or the medium with a medium sized one, and that one sounds like this. And then I made an even smaller one, and I carved like a finger groove thing at the back, and that sounds like this, sort of pippier. You just have to experiment with how far back you do the first cut, how steep you make the back cut, how much you flatten off the inner dowel, and how far in you put it. It's all trial and error really, but it's pretty easy. You can't get much simpler than this next project. All you're going to need is 2 lengths of 2x2 about 4 foot long, and 2 lengths of 2x2 about 6 inches long, which I've just put a 45 at the end of each one. I've actually got mine from a piece of 2x4 which I've ripped down the middle. I think this came from an old pallet. And all you need to do is, with your one of your short pieces, is screw the end of the 45 flush with the bottom of one of your long pieces. And then you want to do the same with the other one. And then this part is optional, but I'm going to give everything a round over with the router. And then next I'm just going to give everything a really good sand down. And now for the demonstration, just in case you didn't realise what these were. Whee. For this next project, you're going to need about 2 meters of narrow batten. This is about 19 millimeters by 25 millimeters roughly, and you're going to need a piece of dowel. This is, I think, 8mm or 10mm. Doesn't matter too much about the dimensions. And the first thing I'm going to do is cut 4 pieces of this about a foot long at the chop saw. So I've actually just gone and cut all of my pieces. So you're going to need 2 pieces 30 centimeters long, 2 pieces 25 centimeters long, 3 pieces at 15 centimeters long, and you're going to need 4 pieces cut with 45s at the end, and they are around 9 centimeters long. And you need 1 piece which is 35 centimeters long, and I've not cut the dowel down to its final size yet, but I've just trimmed it down to just over, well, just a little bit longer than the 15 centimeter pieces. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to be drilling a hole in these 2 pieces and this long piece. So I'm going to be drilling it about 4 centimeters in from the end. So I've just made a centre mark on the 2 30 centimeter pieces, and I'm just going to drill a pilot hole. So now I can get one of these 30 centimeter pieces connected to one of these 25 centimeter pieces. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach these brace pieces that have 45s cut on them to the side pieces, and I'm just going to use super glue for speed. And then I'm just going to put a pin nail in each join. Alright, so next you want your cross pieces, your 150mm pieces, or 15 centimeters. So once you've fitted them 3 cross pieces, next what you want to do is you want to put your piece of dowel in your holes, or in the first hole, and you want to get an elastic band, and you want to wrap it around the dowel just like that. And then you want to feed on your throwing arm. Then you want another elastic band. The other side of that. And then through the last hole, then you want to center your throwing arm using the elastic bands as stoppers. Then you want to use a little bit of super glue on the dowel so it doesn't move. And then you can cut that off flush. And then using a round file, you need to put a groove in the front of both uprights. Then you want a groove in the back of your throwing arm. And you want this groove to be a little bit deeper than the other two. And then you want some more elastic bands. And this is where you can decide on the final length of your throwing arm. I'm actually going to cut about 50 centimeters or 2 inches off of this. Now I can attach a bottle lid . And there you've got a marshmallow launcher. I ain't got any marshmallows, but I've just put a small screw in, see what happens. Whee! And that is it for today. If you've made it to the end, I really appreciate it. I'd just like to say, if you could give me a thumbs up, it would really help the video get seen. And thank you to all my subscribers. And I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.